right, greetings everyone. It is Gleekon here again with another episode of Lore of Warcraft. We are going to wrap up our year -3, or 3 years before the Dark Portal here, so we're getting really close. This is kind of a part B to what's happening in Teron'gor. So stay a while and listen to this one. It's the destruction of Auchindoun. The Burning Crusade or Burning Legion slash the Horde have control of Shattrath now. They've also infected it. Most of the Draenei, the important ones anyway, not most of them, but the non-fighting force have fled to the Zangor Sea, to Teron'gor. And we're now going to have the destruction of Auchindoun, so let's see. Thousands of Draenei perished in Shattrath, but their sacrifices had allowed many civilians to escape. A number of Vindicators, priests, and Rangari also survived the initial attack. They retreated to the tomb city of Auchindoun in the hopes of defending it from the Horde. Remember, in Auchindoun, we've kind of touched on a little bit of what's important there. There's the Shadow Labyrinth, there's the Mana Tombs, there is Sethek, Halls of Sethek, or whatever it is, Sethek Halls. There's that, and then there's that fourth one, I can't remember. Auchindoun was the holiest Draenei site in the world, and these defenders could not bear the thought of the orcs desecrating their ancestors or the Naru housed within. I forgot that there was a Naru housed in there. Exarch Maladar organized the military forces that came to Auchindoun. They fortified the tomb city's catacombs and awaited the inevitable horde attack. Gul'dan knew of the Draenei presence in Auchindoun, and he feared that they might call upon the spirits of their ancestors to wage war against the horde. The warlock dispatched Teron'gor and his most powerful Shadow Council agents to prevent this from happening. Teron'gor and the other warlocks stormed Auchindoun and met fierce resistance from the tomb's defenders. Though the warlock's powers were mighty, so were the Draenei's light-given abilities. Maladar and his followers also received aid from Auchindoun's spirits. The Draenei and their ancestors slaughtered many of the Shadow Council's agents, so what Gul'dan feared came to pass. The Draenei's ancestors were helping. Victory was slipping through the Shadow Council's grasp. As Maladar and his forces closed in, Teron'gor called on his remaining allies. Using the new knowledge Kil'jaeden had shared with them, the warlocks pooled their powers and reached beyond the veil of reality. They hoped to summon a powerful demon into the world, one that would strike down their enemies. In their wild desperation, the warlocks summoned something far different. An otherworldly elemental creature known as Murmur materialized within Auchindoun, pulled to Draenor from a distant corner of the universe. And he's one of the bosses of those 4 dungeons. He's freaking annoying because he's one of the first bosses you start to encounter that have a mechanic that will one-shot anyone and everyone if you don't do the specific, if you don't pay attention to his cast and get behind a pillar. Which, if you're pugging, chances are at least half the people don't know that. And if you haven't done it in a while, you're going to fall victim to it. So essentially, there's going to be a lot of dying, and he makes for an annoying boss. The shockwave of its arrival ripped the earth asunder, killing many of the Draenei and blasting apart the tomb city. Murmur's destructive energies rolled out from Auchindoun in waves and leveled the surrounding forests. So we have a kind of water one here. We've had Cyruk already, so the elementals are still a big part of what's happening on Draenor. Exarch Maladar and a handful of his Draenei used their magics to shield themselves from the blast. Though they survived, they no longer had the numbers to resist the Shadow Council. Teron'gor and his warlocks overwhelmed the Draenei and bound them in chains. The Shadow Council then contained Murmur deep within Auchindoun. A few warlocks stayed in the tomb city to keep the creature from getting loose and wreaking havoc on the Horde. And that's where you get that dungeon from. In the years that followed, the charred, lifeless land around Auchindoun would become known as the Bone Wastes. It would serve as a bitter reminder of all that the Draenei had lost. And that's where it is still to this day. It is still the Bone Wastes. Murmur is still trapped there. You can defeat him for funsies. And there are a few other, like I said, there's the Mana Tombs, there's, Sethek Labyrinth or something like that. Shadow Labyrinth, Sethek Halls, and I just don't know why that fourth one is eluding me. And best of all, here we go. This is a map of they're calling it the Rise of the Horde. This is essentially the current state of the current state of affairs for the Teron'gor. So let's see how we've got. This is the future site of the Dark Portal. This has become Hellfire Peninsula already. Tenon Jungle, ripped apart by lava. This is the throne of Kil'jaeden. This is one of the high peaks. This is where the orcs stream out from, and the lava has just ravaged the land. This is the Citadel, aka Hellfire Citadel. We're not calling this Hellfire yet, but this is where the Burning Crusade orcs that still remain on Draenor, this is where they emanate from, and this is where everybody comes out to the Dark Portal because they want to go to another world to escape this one. As it stands right now, this Bladespire hold still technically exists, although it's been decimated. It's not really powerful. This is still a frosty land. This has not become the Bladespire Mountains yet. This right here, we have an island, Teron'gor, but this is still the Zangar Sea. It has not become the Zangar Marsh yet. Shattrath City is now owned by the orcs. Auchindoun was just ripped apart, surrounded by the Bone Waste. So this land is as we know it now. Now, further south to Telmore, I don't know. There is nothing really in Telmore. I don't think there's a Telmore now. This whole area, too, is Skyreach. That doesn't exist. So somehow we know this area has to get broken off and destroyed. Shadowmoon Valley is already, as it stands, wrecked. Green fell lava everywhere. The Hand of Gul'dan in the middle. The Black Temple, the Temple of Caragor, now known as the Black Temple, exists. Manaroth chilling there. Over here, Nagrand is as it is. Auchindoun, their spaceship's still there. The Throne of the Elements, still there. Heimal, I kind of think this region is there, but you just don't do anything with it. But it might be broken off as well. So this is potentially an area to still get broken off. This needs to be melted. And this area right here, all important. There is nothing. This is the Nether Storm, the Twisting Nether. Parts of this may be included, but this all needs to be totally ripped apart. So we've got some major happenings that still need to occur right there. And some decent happenings that need to occur here and here, and major happenings down here. So we're not quite there yet, but we do still have a couple years to go, which we'll get to on some of these next episodes. This one's in the pipes, 5x5, and I will see you guys on the next episode of Lore of Warcraft. Thanks for listening.